The times when you write code, people think that it's just going to work magically and everything's going to go right, but in reality it's not, and it's going to take a lot of debugging and a lot of patience and a lot of just banging your head on the wall, not knowing what to do. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys how you can learn how to code and get a six-figure paying job along with that. So as many of you guys probably already know, I do not have a stereotypical CS background. I actually did electrical engineering at UCSD, so I did not take as many programming classes as all these like CS people take, so I actually had to learn as I went throughout college. I'm here to talk about how I learned how to code in order to get a software engineering job. But first, let's get coffee. It is the morning and I need some caffeine in my system. Much better. Okay, so starting off with my very first tip is to actually learn by doing. Obviously, if you just watch videos about software engineering or if you watch people like solve problems, you're not really going to learn how to code unless you actually start picking up projects or start doing problems. You just need to keep on practicing because learning code takes a lot of practice, and you honestly need a lot of patience, just because a lot of the times when you write code, people think that it's just going to work magically and everything's going to go right, but in reality it's not, and it's gonna take a lot of debugging and a lot of patience and a lot of just banging your head on the wall, not knowing what to do until you figure it out. But that's like the magic of programming, because once you get it, it is like the best feeling ever. But obviously it's gonna take some time, you are gonna get frustrated, you are gonna get impatient, but that's the beauty of it. So what I personally did is that I started picking up on side projects. So basically I think it was like my second or third year of college, I wanted to start a clothing business, which I did. One of my marketing schemes was actually to go on Instagram and look at similar pages and look at their followers and try to interact and engage with those followers in order for them to look at my page and to follow me and interact with my page. So instead of me just sitting down and actually doing that manually, I actually built a program in Python in order for me to do that, and it was so much fun and I learned so much, especially in debugging, and also just like if something goes wrong, you have to try this, this, and this, and it just made me more comfortable. Obviously, I'm still not the best, obviously, at debugging and all that, but it did help me just get more comfortable and dip my toes in the whole programming world. So that is what I did. And by the way, I do not have this whole like clothing thing business anymore. I tried it out, but I just was not passionate about like fashion and fast fashion. I realized that that's like so bad, so I stopped, but I did make a few $100s, so just a little FYI. So my advice is really just to pick up a project that you're passionate about and just do it, because that's really the only way that you're going to learn. From there, I recommend to take some computer science courses. If you're in college and you're thinking about computer science, then pick up a minor or just like take some classes. And if you're not in college, then I would totally recommend taking some extension courses, and even online. There's so many online courses right now. If you're interested in, I don't know, learn how to build an app or just learn a certain language, and then there's so many resources online. There's even YouTube, there is Udemy, there is just Google. Hello Google. There's just like so many resources that you can look into by just searching. So definitely take some sort of classes and just get more comfortable with like whatever field you want to get into. And if you're new to this, something that I found helpful is that there's so many segments to software engineering. So not every software engineer is the same, and by this I mean that there's so many little segments. There's mobile, there's data science, there's machine learning, there's front end, back end, full stack. There's just so many things that you can specialize in software. So kind of play around with whatever one that you kind of find more interesting, and then from there dig deep into what languages you need to know. So for me, I have experience in front-end engineering, and I found that front-end engineering is actually the closest you can get to design but still be an engineer. So I obviously just really liked it. So the languages that you need to know in order to become a front-end engineer is actually JavaScript, and on top of that you need to learn a library. So that is like React, Angular, Vue, and I would honestly recommend just sticking to one language and one like framework, just in order for you to get really comfortable with that. And I feel like once you pick up a language, you can easily just move around with other languages, if that makes sense. My next tip is to actually learn data structures. Data structures is actually the most fundamental thing that you need to know in order to be a good programmer and also just to pass through programming interviews. And that is something that I learned as I was interviewing and just the more I became aware of software engineering and all that. So the website that I actually really recommend is LeetCode. You can actually just Google it, it's free, and you can start doing problems within different data structures. So the simplest data structures that I would honestly start with is arrays and strings, and then from there move on to more expert topics such as linked lists, trees, etc. I also found this blog that I will actually link down below that I found super duper helpful. It was just like the top most used interview questions that employers asks, and I broke it down to different segments. So it was really easy to just choose a segment, let's say arrays, and do those problems. And it was only like 10, and I feel like once I did those problems I got really comfortable, and I also wrote them down in a notebook, and from there I felt like I really got a sense of what arrays are. And I also looked back at my notebook in case I did another problem and I was not sure, then I would look back in my little notebook and I would see what was going on and how to solve it, how to approach it. So I will definitely have that blog linked down below. If you go through all the different segments and get a good sense of each data structure, I feel like you're in really good hands. And don't spend too much time on one. If you don't know how to do it, obviously use Google and your resources in order to figure it out, because at first, when you first start LeetCode, you're not gonna be comfortable and you're gonna be like, what the heck is this? And you're not gonna know anything. That's the sad truth. But just know that eventually you are gonna get the hang of it, and just keep that positive mindset, because again, coding is not easy and it's like learning a new language. So just keep going, and I promise that you will get more comfortable with doing these problems. My next tip is more college oriented, but that is to actually take internships. And also I would recommend unpaid internships, which I know a lot of people are against, but if you're trying to learn something new, then I would just take anything that I can get in order to put in my resume. So I would definitely look at what internships are available from your school or just like your local community. And I actually have a video talking about how to get a technical internship specifically in software engineering without any prior experience, and I will link that also down below. It is very helpful in order how to prepare in order to get that very first internship. And my final tip is to learn how to learn. This was honestly my biggest college lesson and something that I always tell people to know how to do. And that is basically, I feel like, all that college teaches you, aside from just like interpersonal skills and all that. But basically in coding, you're always learning something new. You're never gonna know like everything and know how to do everything. So you gotta be comfortable with the uncomfortable, and you just honestly have to be okay with not knowing how to do something. You have to use your resources, aka Google, or this could be your teachers, this could be your classmates, this can be just like anyone who's helpful in order to figure out how to actually do it. And that is how you're gonna learn and become a better coder. So I would honestly recommend to not step away from projects that seem hard and out of reach. I would actually just approach them with an open mind and just put yourself kind of like in a vulnerable state, and be okay with just like not really knowing how to do it, but knowing how to figure it out. I think that's just like such a valuable lesson that you can learn, and also learn how to debug it step by step. And honestly, it all also comes down to practice. So the more you do this, the more comfortable you're gonna get. You're never gonna get to the point of like, I know everything, because at the end of the day, you're always gonna need Google, you're always gonna need teamwork, you're always gonna need other people to collaborate in order to do these software projects. So be comfortable with not knowing, be comfortable to be in that vulnerable state, and know that it's all right. Coding is honestly a little bit comfortable, but that is okay, because that's the only way that you're gonna grow. And that is one of the main reasons of why I like coding so much, because it's honestly such a great challenge. And a lot of times I look at a problem and I'm just like, what the heck is going on? I have no idea how to solve this. And that is okay, because as an engineer, they hired me to figure it out, and that is basically your job. So as long as you're comfortable with that and knowing that you will figure it out, and just having that positive mindset that you will figure it out, you will get it done, and you will learn and be a better coder, then that is just like such a great mindset. And I feel like this one is more mindset based, but that is honestly just like how I take it in and how I do my day-to-day work. I feel like there's a lot of other jobs that people hate just because it gets boring, repetitive. What I love about software engineering is that it never gets repetitive. There's always new issues, new problems that I don't know how to solve, and that's what makes it exciting. And yes, you're kind of sacrificing that like, I know how to do it, repetitive feeling, to that like kind of like uncomfortable, challenging feeling. But I prefer having that feeling than that like repetitive, I know what to do type of feeling. So that is pretty much it for all my tips. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below what other type of videos you would like to see. I know that you guys love these software engineering videos, so I'm definitely gonna put more tricks and tips and all that. Please let me know down below what types of topics and content you want to see, and also if you want to see things other than software engineering, like mindset, self-development. I'm also super into that, just like goals and all that, productivity. So please let me know in the comments down below what you would like to see. Oh, and also one last thing, I'm going to be consistent and posting every Sunday, so please make sure to stay tuned for a new video every Sunday from me. And I think that is pretty much it. So again, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. Bye.